Chief Technology Officer for AMT. Interesting conversation and webinar that I was involved in yesterday from the Manufacturing USA Institutes. It seems over time that, we now have 15. They have created a CEO council. So this is basically the CEO or the executive director of each of the 15 institutes, and they have brainstorming and strategy sessions. And one of the things that has come up, especially going through the pandemic these last few months, 6 months, has been where can the U.S. better position itself? And what is it that we can do to share supply chain visibility, to have an effective deployable workforce in areas that we might need it in a moment's notice? And so the council has gotten together and produced some recommendations. And I want to talk you through a little bit about those recommendations and what it all means. If you have not checked into the Manufacturing USA Institutes in a while, some interesting stats were presented yesterday, so I was glad to hear it. As of to date, so these all started, if you remember, with America Makes, the Additive Institute, back in August of 2012, if you can imagine it. Over 2,100 companies, non-for-profits and academic institutes and government agencies are a part of these institutes by membership as of now. Federal investment is up to 1.3 billion US dollars, and then matched and above that, 1.5 billion non-federal co-investments. This is private sector and other non-federal folks putting in cash in kind. Over 670,000 individuals have been impacted by the Institute's workforce initiatives. Let me see that number again. 670,000 individuals impacted by these initiatives in workforce development. So while it might seem we don't see this filling of job recs like we would like to, there is an impact occurring from the institutes. So as this group, that's a little bit on the institutes. Now back to the council. What the council is doing is they've found a mission, and that is to drive a resilient, agile, digitally connected, cyber secure, and globally competitive U.S. manufacturing industry. Big goal, big mission, or big mission, I should say. In the near term, this goal of the council is to do two things. They want to first form a resilient manufacturing task force. So this would be people from industry and government who understand supply chains and would know how to prioritize. And they're saying, let's employ those to do two things: frame and define next steps, and then two, provide recommendations to create this organizational structure, which really consists of three things. One is a national manufacturing guard, two is a data exchange, and three, a technology core. So I want to explain a little bit about how they define those. So the National Manufacturing Guard is much like the National Guard in the sense of it's a deployed, consistently being trained force that has some expertise. And in our case, the Manufacturing Guard is that around manufacturing supply chains. And so this is an initiative to have readiness, planning, and training for the eventuality that, look, another disruption is going to happen. It may not be a pandemic, it might be something else. It could be shortages, it could be prices, it could be many things that create a disruption in the ability for us to get goods and services from here domestically or internationally. And it's in the vein of defending our country. So how do we outfit and support the industrial base, the defense industrial base, all these things? So it's economic first, but certainly by any other means, a readiness check. The second thing that they were looking into is a real-time supply chain data exchange. So this is an infrastructure that would enable a secure end-to-end data backbone for real-time visibility and the mitigation tools necessary to support the resilient production of critical products. Not just of a COVID instance where that was PPE and other things, but what are those national stockpiles we need to have? How do we redistribute at time of need? How do you optimize certain capabilities and tactics to be employed when we have a shortage or a disruption or a gap? The third part of this is the technology core. So the technology core is meant to establish a workforce pipeline. So these are folks that are meaning to be positioned to respond to the national security needs, and also a pipeline into the National Manufacturing Guard. What's interesting is how they want to field these people. So we have 33 million Americans between the ages of 18 to 24. They want to equip them with a 21st century skill set. These might be out of high school. You go into the technology core because you want to do some other education, but you're not sure yet, or you know it's manufacturing, you don't know what flavor. So it could be a step into higher education. It could be a step into the military. It could be a step into trade work. It could be a step directly into industry with apprenticeships. There's a lot of different things. You can think of Teach for America and Peace Corps, how folks come in early, get an opportunity to serve, if you will, the country in a manner. And I think with the military, that could be a two-way street. This could also be a nice transition into the private sector and civilian life for folks who have certain skill sets that are very advantageous to the manufacturing world. So that was, they had presented those ideas. Those ideas were actually picked up and introduced on the Senate floor by Senators Coons and Rubio under the Toughening America's Supply Chain Act. Now, it's just recently, within the last month. So we'll see where that goes. It's a lot of interesting tidbits there, some insight of what's going on, but we do seem to have coherence in both the private and public sectors about what the U.S. needs to do. And it starts with having a more organized approach to plan and become more resilient for our supply chain and manufacturing. Well, that's it, guys. I appreciate the time spent with you. Hopefully you have a good rest of the September day, and we look forward to seeing you next